Hi everyone, and welcome back to Queen G's Recipes. And today I'm very happy to be bringing you another fall recipe. It is October, it's that time, pumpkin season, and most definitely one of my favorite times of the year. So I'm going to be showing you how to make my frosted pumpkin bars. We're going to be making a very nice, moist, and dense bars made out of pumpkin, obviously, and we're going to be making a brown buttered frosting. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be delicious. Now the frosting I will show you how to make once we have finished our bars. So I'll show you the ingredients then. But for now, I'm going to be showing you what we'll be needing for our pumpkin bars. So what I have here is half a cup of softened butter at room temperature. I have half a cup of sour cream, a quarter cup of half and half cream. You can also use table cream, and if you don't have either one, you can use milk. Here I have 1.5 cups of regular flour, half a cup of almond flour, and I also have 1 teaspoon of baking powder, half a teaspoon of baking soda, and a pinch of salt. I'm using unsalted butter, so therefore I'm adding about 1/8 teaspoon of salt. If you're using salted butter, you can omit the salt. Here we have 1¼ cups of sugar. I have 1 cup of pumpkin puree. Now we cannot use pumpkin pie filling. It must be the plain pumpkin puree because the pumpkin pie filling has additives in it like spices and sugars and all those kind of things that we don't want in this recipe. So just pumpkin puree, 1 cup of that, 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, and 2 eggs. And that's about it. So I'm going to be using my standing mixer today. Most definitely you can use a bowl, whisk, spatula, and a wooden spoon, whatever you have on hand, and it'll work perfectly fine. So you're also going to be needing a baking sheet like I have here, almost like a cookie sheet. Now mine is a Wilton baking sheet, and it's 17.25 by 11.5 by 1 inch in height. Okay. Now you want to also remember to start preheating your oven at 350 degrees Fahrenheit, and let's move on to making our pumpkin bars. Okay, so first off we're going to start by creaming our butter. Okay, I'm going to give that a little mix just until it is nice and creamy. Now we'll add in our sugar. We'll give that another mix until well combined. Make sure you scrape down the sides of your bowl when necessary. Okay, and now we are going to add in all of our wet ingredients. Our eggs, our half and half cream, vanilla, sour cream, and our pumpkin puree. So now we're going to mix until nicely combined and creamy. And now I forgot to mention to you, but you can also add at this time an 1/8 teaspoon of cinnamon or an 1/8 teaspoon of nutmeg if you like that flavor. So I'm going to add in a pinch of cinnamon here, okay? But that is most definitely optional. Give that another mix, and then we'll add in our dry ingredients. And now we're ready to add in our dry ingredients. Mix just until combined. Okay, so when adding in your dry ingredients, if you want to add in some chopped pecans, toasted walnuts, you can add that in as well, but I won't be adding any in. But this is another option if you'd like to add it into your pumpkin bars. So now we are ready to place it into our greased baking sheet, and then we'll be ready to bake them. Okay, so one more thing to keep in mind before we prepare our bars to be placed in the oven. If you don't have almond flour on hand, you can always substitute it with another half a cup of regular flour, and it'll work out just fine as well. Okay, so now we're going to place these into our preheated oven for about 25 minutes, or when you place a toothpick in the center and it comes out clean. So let's get to baking. As soon as our bars are baked, we will work on our frosting. Okay, so my bars baked for exactly 21 minutes. After the 21-minute mark, I inserted a toothpick because it was nice and golden brown. Toothpick came out clean, so we're perfectly ready to set these aside and allow them to cool to room temperature. So I'm going to allow these to cool for about maybe 40 to 45 minutes. And once we've reached the 40-minute mark, we'll start making our frosting, which will be in about a second for you. Okay, so now we're going to make our brown butter frosting. Our bars have been cooling for about 40 minutes now, and now they are almost completely at room temperature. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go over the ingredients first, and then we're going to melt our butter. So what I have here is half a cup of butter. We have 3 cups of icing sugar, also known as powdered sugar. We're going to be using 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, and here I have 4 tablespoons of half and half cream. If you have table cream, you can use that as well, or if you don't have either, you can also use milk. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my saucepan on medium-high heat, and I'm going to allow my butter to melt. As soon as my butter is completely melted, we are going to lower the heat to medium-low. And then we are going to monitor it for about 5 minutes until our butter has become fragrant and a nice dark golden brown. I'll let you know what it looks like when we get there. Okay, so now that our butter is completely melted, I'm going to reduce my heat to medium-low, and we are going to keep an eye on it. Now don't allow it to become too brown because it will easily burn, and then you can't go back from that. You would have to start over again. So we're going to keep an eye on it. We're going to continuously stir and allow it to become fragrant. So about 5 minutes or so, allow it to become fragrant and nice dark golden brown. I'll let you know what it looks like once we get there. Okay, so it's been 5 minutes. It's almost at the color that we want it to be. It's definitely very fragrant right now at this point, so probably another 30 seconds to a minute. And our butter should be at the color we want it to be. Okay, so I left it for another minute, and as you can see, our butter is perfect. It's nice dark golden brown, not too dark, but just perfect. So make sure you continuously stir, because under the foaminess of the butter, of the melted butter, you will see the color of the butter. So now I'm going to remove this from my stove top, place it on top of a pot holder, and allow it to cool off for about 5 to 7 minutes. Okay, so my brown butter has been cooling for about 12 minutes. Now after 7 minutes, I noticed that it was still pretty hot, so I allowed it to sit for another 5 minutes. So about 12 to 15 minutes is the best time to wait. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my brown butter sauce and place it in my mixer. Okay, so just give your brown butter here a nice little mix. Okay. Place it in your mixer or your bowl, whatever you're using. Okay. And now what we're going to do is we are going to place our icing sugar in here. So what I have is the what I have is the 3 cups of icing sugar. Oops, I'm going to be careful with that so you don't have it fly everywhere like I did. Then we'll add in our 1 teaspoon of vanilla. And we're going to mix this until we have a nice frosting consistency. And we'll also add in about 2 tablespoons of the cream we have here. Okay, and then if we need to add more, we'll add in more after. On low speed, or you'll have your kitchen full of icing sugar all over the place. Okay, so our mixture looks a little crumbly, which is totally fine. Now we'll add in about an extra tablespoon of our cream and mix again. Okay, so you want a nice spreadable frosting, and you know, once you place your frosting on top of your bars, it will firm up very quickly. So I'm going to add in about a teaspoon and mix again. Okay, so we used a little over 3 tablespoons of cream. Now you can make it to the consistency that you like thicker or thinner consistency. That is totally up to you. But to me, this is perfect just as it is, as you can see here. All right, and you want to mix it until it is nice and fluffy. So until you have a nice, perfect, fluffy frosting, then you know it's spreadable and it'll be perfect on your pumpkin bars. So let's get to spreading our frosting on our pumpkin bar. Okay, so now is the fun and easy part of this recipe. We are going to place our frosting on our cooled bars here. Okay, so our bars are completely frosted. Now just one tip, make sure that you make your frosting once your bars are completely cooled, and make sure you spread it as quickly as possible because it will start to firm up very quickly. And that's about it. I've given you all the tips and tricks that I know, and now we are going to cut a bar and try it. Oh, look how beautiful and moist these look. Oh my goodness. Just looks amazing. Okay, so time to try our frosted pumpkin bars. Wow, these are super amazing. A must try for sure. Now, it's almost like a cake bar. It is super moist. The flavor is just amazing, not overpowering pumpkin flavor. It is just perfection. Wow, these are super amazing. A must try for sure. Now, it's almost like a cake bar. It is super moist. The flavor is just amazing, not overpowering pumpkin flavor. It is just perfection. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you will be notified every time I upload a new and delicious recipe. Give our video a nice big thumbs up. And don't forget to share the recipe with your family and friends. And that's about it. I'll see you on my next video. Take care. Bye, everyone.